Today is Saturday, November 26, 2022, and this is the Black Friday Cyber Monday Blitz for Talk Commerce. Today we interview Gaurav Baid. Gaurav is with Avataar. Avataar's sector-agnostic platform enables scalable product discovery, giving brands and stores the opportunity to change the way consumers discover and engage with their products online. Avataar's use of AR technology brings spatial depth to the on-screen browsing experience, delivering lifelike photorealism, mobile responsiveness, interactivity, and personalization. Key influences reshaping the digital commerce industry today. Gaurav Baid is the CPO and co-founder of Avataar. Gaurav has set out to deliver meaningful and delightful enhancements to visual experiences by deploying 3D computer vision and AI technical advancement of Avataar's proprietary platform. Have you been enjoying your free jokes on these podcasts? Well, let me just tell you that the jokes aren't free. They take time and effort to come up with them. Please go to wherever you download your podcasts, such as Apple Podcasts, and rate and review this episode. It will help so much to increase the awareness of Talk Commerce. Again, wherever you download your podcast, please rate and review it. Thank you. Talk Commerce is sponsored by Haifa, or as the Europeans say, Hoofa, or the right way to say it. Hoofa is rapidly becoming the biggest Magento front end after Luma. For those who don't know it, Luma is the basic theme that comes with Magento, and it is giantly slow. If you're looking for a template-based front end with the fastest loading times in the e-commerce industry while saving costs on development time and hosting infrastructure, Hoofa is your best option. Everybody loves a fast site, including Google. Improve your Google ranking and conversion rates and make your customers happy. Learn more at hyva.io. That's hyva.io. My name is Brent Peterson, and I'm your host. Please remember to subscribe wherever you download your podcasts. And now, Talk Commerce. Welcome to Talk Commerce. Today I have Gaurav Baid. He is the co-founder and chief product officer for Avataar. Gaurav, go ahead, do an introduction for yourself, much better than I did. Tell us your day-to-day role and maybe one of your passions in life.
Sure, Brent. First of all, it's my pleasure to be part of your show. And thank you for having me over here. As a quick backdrop on me, as you rightly mentioned, I'm one of the founders at Avataar and I play the role of Chief Product Officer, which makes me the product thinker in the day-to-day operations at Avataar. What I'm personally focused on at Avataar as we are entering into this new phase of our life cycle is utilizing the repeatable PMF mode that we have built with our partners to deliver higher ROI outcomes for our sellers, as well as a delightful visual discovery for the end consumer. That kind of flows in from our vision where we started Avataar, Brent, to bringing spatial depth to visual discovery experiences. What that practically means is that we are in the process of upgrading all existing 2D touchpoints that a brand has with its consumers in the form of images or videos to life-size interactive 3D content.
Wow, that's cool. All right, so before we jump into the topic, which I'm very excited about, I'm going to do my free joke project. I'm going to tell you a joke, and all I ask is that you tell me if you feel the joke is free or if I could charge for it in the future. All right, ready? What's an astronaut's... All right, ready? Here we go. All right, I'm going to edit that one out. Here we're going to start over. Here we go.
Sure.
Why did the worker get fired from the keyboard factory? He kept missing his shifts.
I think you can charge for it, Brent.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thanks. Good. Thank you. Thanks for playing along. All right. So the more important topic today, 3D AR. I'm very excited about this. Tell us a little bit about why merchants should think about moving from 2D to 3D.
Well, if I could first touch upon a more obvious fact, Brent, which is mostly overlooked, is that we all live in a 3D world. It's about 3D objects around us, but somehow the digital consumption of that visual content has been limited to 2D screens, like the laptop or the mobile devices that we use. So the need for 3D or spatial depth has always been there because we as humans have been lacking that in our digital conversations. So that's where our journey started. That's what we wanted to bring to the end consumer because 60% of human sensory perception is visual. Audio, which is on the other hand, just to draw a parallel for the viewers today, audio is just about 20% of the sensory perception, but has had the benefit of spatial depth for over decades, with the benefit of technologies like surround sound, noise cancellation. Similarly, on the visual side, 3D and AR is what we are trying to bridge that gap with in terms of bringing that benefit to the end consumer. Now, AR more specifically in this journey started as a more top funnel engagement where it was to create awareness, to create buzz and to engage people, and then kind of transpired into the bottom funnel or the conversion stage for the merchants, where today when you see it's adding almost close to twice the conversion level for a merchant. So what their merchants used to achieve in terms of their conversion from the traffic with 2D content, 3D is able to deliver twice of it. So you let me know how you would like me to double click on it, and I'm happy to do so.
Yeah, I think one thing to remember or look at or examine is that 3D was really popular in the TV world, right? And it never really took off. But I think what we're seeing is that in the visual world online, there's more importance placed on that 3D look. Give us an idea of what a merchant could experience more on 3D versus 2D.
So on online merchant print today is being very limited by the modes that with which they are selling to the end consumer. Now, if you look at even the history of e-commerce, right? E-commerce has been there for over 2 decades. But today the penetration of e-commerce is a meager 11.8% globally. That kind of stems from few facts which an online commerce today is not able to solve vis-a-vis a physical one. And there are 3 different aspects to it. One being touch and feel of the product, which a consumer gets when they can walk into a physical store. Second being the look of the product as to how will this product look into my space or in the context when I were to put them on. Third being fit of the product as to how will it fit either myself when I'm using it or in the space that I want to place it. With 3D and AR, what merchant gets for their end consumers is the upside of providing look and fit in the context that they want. So I can either place the product in my environment, like if I'm buying a couch, I can place it in my living space and see how it looks and goes with the decor of the room, if the color fits with other objects which I have, as well as the fit in terms of if the dimensions are fitting within the space I have, will it come through the narrow hallway I have, and things like those. So as a merchant, what they're providing to the end consumer is that look and fit solution today using 3D and AR, which has been kind of limiting the online conversions for decades too.
And I think another difference too is number one, interactivity. So when we're talking about the virtual reality portion of it, you don't have to have any special equipment. It does help to have if you were to have a headset, you could walk around and see how it looks, but you could experience something on your phone or on your computer in a way where it seems like you're walking through a video, right?
No, absolutely. And yes, a virtual headset or a mixed reality headset does help. But Brent, we have always been a core follower of the principle that we have to make it scalable. And today that hardware part is not scalable. Everyone have a mobile device in their hands, but not everyone have a virtual headset in their home to use it. So where we look at solving the problem is making it accessible to everyone. Today, just for your context, there are 3.5 billion devices globally which have AR capability to bring to the end consumer, and that's what we are targeting. That's what we want to bring to every consumer in their hands. And the idea is to make it easy while they experience it, not to make it too problematic in terms of getting to an experience, in terms of even initiating it. So in terms of the different touch points that we provide across the user funnel, the different places where on the product pages a merchant can today activate a 3DR experience, that has been our focus in terms of solving that pain point for the consumer. And that's what we are bringing forth.
You mentioned earlier visual discovery. Walk us through how important that is nowadays compared to how somebody would discover a product in the past on a website.
So, in the post-pandemic world, what has happened is that people have been spending more time online. So that's where the need of the online space to solve for visual discovery has only increased multifolds. It was always there to start with. As I said, that was the need which kind of drove this. But in the post-pandemic world, because of the time that a consumer spends online in trying to make a purchase decision, the need for accurate description, accurate visuals to be provided for them to make an informed purchase decision has only increased. That's where we are trying to solve it by providing a life-size 3D version of the product so that you can use it. With AR, you can place it in the context that you are in. You can look at dimensions. As you rightly mentioned, you can interact with the product, like change colors or compare two different products side by side to understand which one might be a better fit for you. Bring together multiple products to make an entire look and see how the decor will go and do various stuff. So that impulse of the visual discovery that's being driven has been helping the consumers a lot. And that's where 3D and AR have been able to deliver their impact in recent times for the end consumers as well as the merchants.
And from a product standpoint, it's not just furniture. There's all kinds of potential solutions and problems that this is solving. What are some of the verticals that you see big gains on, and what are some that are really looking for a good solution like 3D AR?
That's a very important question, Ben. So yes, there are certain sectors which have been early adopters of AR in terms of the conversion stage. Furniture, of course, being one, but overall, if you were to look at home and home improvement segments have been the biggest benefactors of 3D and AR. That includes furniture, durables, electronics, computer and audio, sports and equipment, even kitchen to a large extent. These have been the segments which have seen 3D and AR delivering conversion uplift already, and sometimes in the tune of 100 to 200% uplift as well. That has been the impact of 3D and AR. Now, but there has been, as you see the advent and the progress of 3D and AR, that has been penetrating into other sectors as well. As a technology, it has been there to serve all segments. In terms of consumer adoption is what we are seeing, that inflection also happening. So beyond the ones which had already proven their worth in the past, this year specifically, we have seen categories like accessories, footwear, jewelry, even fashion to a large extent, kind of picking up 3D and AR and seeing the benefit from it. These are the early stages where we are seeing great traction and great uplift, and which will only get added on as we go along in the journey.
And I guess if you would look back at some of the basic things that happened in the past, if you think about buying a car, you can change the color of the car. That's just a basic, almost a 2D version of it. We're talking about more of an interactive experience where you could see through the living room, you could see how something is placed, you could walk around it. I even saw a demonstration last week of a virtual with the phone camera, where it overlaid the products in the actual room you were in. So tell us about how that technology is advancing and some of the fun things we're going to see, other than just uploading a picture and putting your product in that picture.
Absolutely. To start off, just adding on to the example of car that you mentioned, right? Even today, using AR, you can not only see the car, drop it, let's say a life-size version of it in your backyard to see how it looks sitting in your garage, but more so interact with it in terms of understanding various features, like open up the hood and see how the engine is inside it, hear the sound of it, or sit inside on the driving seat or on the passenger seat and look at how the interiors have been built, see all the finishing, or even the audio play instrument inside and how that cluster looks and everything. So there have been such benefits even for a heavily physically driven segment like automobiles, where 3D and AR has been able to deliver benefits for the end consumer. But as we are expanding on this, as more and more people come into the funnel of 3D and AR, as we see the evolution happening, what we see is the contextuality getting stronger from an end consumer perspective. Now, this is what the journey of 2D was also, if you were to reflect back on it, where personalization came, recommendations came, where today a 2D product journey can give you a lot more information about what will go well with what you are looking at, what could be the better replacements for it, and understanding your past purchase behavior give you such recommendations. Similar context, 3D will also play out, especially in the camera space when you look at AR, because now you're peeping into consumers' world. Once you have that context, giving them recommendation of what they have currently in this space, along with what their past purchases have been, it would be much more impactful to deliver suggestions to the end consumer in terms of the context they are in. So we see that user benefit also panning out in terms of how 3D and AR could be used.
I want to just unpack a little bit that past purchase behavior and explain how somebody could bring somebody back to their site knowing they've purchased or they're looking at a product and maybe if they've only seen it in the 2D version. How can a merchant get that customer back and give them a better experience knowing they're looking at something?
Absolutely. So 3D and AR is not always about a virtual product, right? When you look at the post-funnel engagement for a brand, what they can also do is that using the actual physical product, which let's say the consumer owns now and they possess and have been delivered to them, using that physical product also, they can start a new journey altogether where they can drive consumers back into the funnel. So let's say if I continue with the example of the car itself, right? As a user or as the buyer, if I'm looking at my car, an AR experience can today tell me what kind of accessories could go well along with it, the kind of additions that I can make to the car. If I talk about, let's say, a fashion purchase, it can tell me what other apparels or what other accessories will go well to complete this look. If I talk about furniture, it can tell me for the couch that I just bought, what kind of a rug or a center table or a side chair will go very well with it to make the look even more appealing in my context. So that's where AR has been helping the merchants in terms of starting a new journey altogether for the consumer, kind of cross-selling or upselling in the process, and bringing them back into the funnel where the whole process starts again. And thereby the benefits again accrue to the merchants as well as the consumers.
Do you see an advantage in collaborative shopping? So I know it's popular now to have a co-shopper, but it's also popular now to shop with somebody else, where you can have two people sort of experiencing that same thing, but in separate places. Tell us a little bit about how that could play into 3D AR.
That would be a very powerful one, especially in the context of the metaverse era as we all are in. Where social shared experiences will sort of become a norm. What you will see is that if, as a consumer, I'm given the option that if I'm buying something for my home, and if I could share it with my family or with my partner, and together we can look at it, make a decision, that is always what people need. Today, that is being served by sharing the product images or the links to your family members in terms of getting their opinion. But the impact of all of you experiencing the same thing from different locations at the same time just takes the engagement to the next level. Again, continuing on the previous example, if it was about buying a car, right? So think of it that two different members of a family sitting in two different cities could actually log into this one virtual showroom and see the same car at the same time, decide on different color combinations and the accessories that they want to put on, and complete the purchase there itself. So that's the kind of power shared social experiences bring to the context, where as we go more into the realms of the Web 3.0 era, where metaverse, as we see the way it's panning out, more people shopping together, the collaborativeness of it, is only going to add more to the value of 3D and AR.
I want to just kind of switch gears a little bit and talk about your journey and what prompted you to co-found this company, and tell us a little bit about your company.
Sure. For me personally, it has been over a decade in consumer tech space. A fair share of it spent at Avataar, building and winning with our deep tech platform. We started Avataar, and by we I mean me and Shravant. We are the two co-founders of Avataar. We were both together prior to this, working as investment bankers, covering consumer tech space. It was the journey into the tech domain which kind of prompted it. For Shravant, it has been much longer than me because he is a techie by background. I'm more of a product guy coming into this space. But the journey kind of triggered from the point where we realized that disconnect in terms of how the visual discovery experiences are. As I was kind of alluding to earlier, that because we all live in 3D world, but we are not able to experience stuff in 3D on the digital platforms, that is the power, or that is the need that we wanted to serve, to bring that power in the hands of consumers, to give them the benefit of how even our virtual experiences or digital experiences should be in comparison to the physical ones. That kind of prompted us to get onto this journey. It's been great 7 years for us now, getting into the 8th year as we speak, and kind of bringing the value for everyone in the ecosystem.
And tell us some of the platforms that you're on. I think you had mentioned BigCommerce and Shopify. Are those your two main targets that you're doing?
Yes, we are live on Shopify and BigCommerce today. But similar to those, other e-commerce enablement platforms also are in the roadmap. So over the course of Q4 and Q1 next year, we will see Avataar being live on other platforms. It exists as an out-of-the-box integration today, just like a single-click app. Any merchant can go integrate Avataar to their existing e-store, and then we take care of all the stuff in an automated manner. So we provide 2D to 3D content creation in an automated manner, which is where our nerve tech comes in, which is the neural radiance fields, which allows you to take a quick video of a product and kind of convert it into life-size 3D in matter of minutes with no manual intervention. And as well as on the experience side, a merchant could go live on their product pages using our tech, again in a matter of click. So that's how easy we have been focused towards making it as a self-serve tool for our partners. And in that journey, we'll continue to bring more ecosystems for our merchants.
Has it been a challenge for you being a non-techie, or are you relying on your partner to do the tech part and you're doing the product part?
Well, when you have been in this journey for 7+ years, Brent, it's like, I personally feel I've done a double PhD in the topic. So, it all depends on the number of hours you spend on a particular problem. For us, for both of us, it has been a very insightful journey, a meaningful one in terms of the learning experiences that we have gathered, and the kind of impact that we can bring to the ecosystem. To start off, I never felt that issue. Of course, being a non-techie coming into the space, you are obviously worried. But I've been kind of associated with this space for a long time, and it's just that I'm not an engineer by degree, but I do understand coding, and I have been coding myself. So that has been kind of only added on to my experience during Avataar.
So you're a coding investment banker. Makes yourself quite unique. So I just want to talk a little bit more about some challenges as an entrepreneur, as a startup. Do you find it more challenging to build the team and maintain the team, or build your product and maintain the product? Like human versus product.
That's a very difficult one, Brent. Believe me, both have kind of challenged us over the journey at Avataar, and there's not an easy answer. But if I have to pick one, just out of my own experience, my own journey, building the team is always the most critical part. I won't say it's more difficult than building the product, but from the lens, if I were to reflect on the journey today, if you get the team right, the product will come together in the right shape. So if you can have the right folks with the right passion and the right persistence and the mindset to solve the problem that you're at, you would be able to solve that problem no matter what. So I feel that's more important, more critical in the journey for the success of a startup. If you get the team right, that's always more beneficial. Product will come through. You sometimes have to iterate through it, and most of the times your early releases are something that you would be embarrassed about reflecting back on it. But that's part of the journey. We shouldn't worry about that. If product is taking its time, as long as you have the right team to back it.
I'm going to ask you one more entrepreneur question, then we'll get back to 3D AR. Do you feel, is there anything that you could give advice to on a new upstart company or a new startup to sort of when you start building that magic team? Is there anything that you found that you've had success with for building that team and maintaining that team over time?
Finding people who align with the values and culture that you have has been the key principle for success for us. If you can find people who can align with the way you want to build a product, the way you want to solve a problem for the world, the way you want to bring value to the ecosystem, that's where you will hit a jackpot. Because that's where you will be able to find the strength also in your journey. And there would be phases in that journey where you'll need a lot of persistence to pass through that. And those are the scenarios where you look back at your team and need that support. So finding that commonality between the team is the key principle that I would say has been true for our success at Avataar.
And as the leader, do you have an outlook that the team supports you or you support the team?
Well, I think we all support the product and the platform that we are building. It's never a one-way street or anything like that, if I were to say so. It's all of us. There's a old saying, and I being a sports enthusiast myself, it's always about putting the team before yourself. And when I say the team, it's about the team that you're playing for. For us, that's Avataar. We all are playing for Avataar over here. So we always keep Avataar before ourselves at an individual level or even at a group level as members of the team. So as long as that part is clear, the decision making is always easy. So you don't have to think about whether we are doing it for ourselves or for a group of members in the team. As long as you're doing it for Avataar, everything else kind of makes sense and falls into place.
Thanks for those, and thanks for sharing some of your entrepreneurial journey stories. That I think people are always interested in that. All right, so as we go into this next quarter, we're going into Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and then we're going to go into next year. Is there any nuggets or some kind of great advice you could give people as they're going into these busy times, and then as they get through the holidays, what would you tell a merchant?
Sure. First thing that I like to kind of stress upon is that world has evolved a lot in recent times. Over the past 2 years, it has not the same. Even if I were to reflect 2 quarters back, it has changed a lot. So consumer behavior today has to be looked through a new lens. Merchants, sellers have always been looking at solving consumer problems through a customer-centric approach by delivering performance. Today, they have to look at a life-centric approach. So even when we go into this holiday season, I think what will really be the differentiator for any brand is how well they deliver an experience to the consumer. How that experience adds value to the life of the consumers is what people are looking at, rather than just at the performance of the product that they are buying. So this is where we feel that businesses need to hold the hand of the consumer in terms of guiding them, in terms of helping them make the right decision for themselves, because the power eventually is in the hands of consumer. As we all say, consumer is the king. We have always believed in that. That's why we always start with consumer first and then come backwards in terms of solving that problem. So today, giving that power in the hands of consumers, giving them the choice to make the right decision for themselves by providing all the relevant information and creating that experience for them is what I would say would make the real difference in the phase as we are stepping into it, and also for the longer piece, because I think the consumer behavior has evolved over the last 2 years.
Gaurav, as we close out the podcast, I give every guest the opportunity to do a shameless plug. What would you like to plug today?
Well, as I mentioned, we are live on Shopify and BigCommerce right now, and we are currently running an great offer for merchants to come on board as part of the early access sign up. So there are free experiences which they get, free transactions that they can power through our platform. So would love if many of your listeners today could come experience Avataar on Shopify or BigCommerce where we are already live. Try it out. There's no upfront cost involved, and we believe in delivering value first and then only kind of charging for it. So they'll get to experience 3D and AR firsthand and tell us about their views.
Perfect. And I'll put all these links on the show notes so people can click through to your site and do a sign up. Gaurav Baid, co-founder of Avataar Me. Did I say it right? Avataar Me, AVATER.me. Is that correct?
Sure. The users can find it on avataar.ai. So that's
perfect.
As you rightly said, Avataar, AVATAR.ai is where they can find it. And on Shopify and BigCommerce, they can just look up Avataar and it will show up.
Perfect. Gaurav, thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate the insights.
It was all my pleasure, Brent, and thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you for making it to the end of this episode of Talk Commerce. Please rate this episode wherever you download your podcasts. We are actively looking for people to participate in the Free Joke Project. Go to talk-commerce.com and sign up for your free spot on the Free Joke Project. If you are a business, I will do a 30-second elevator pitch in the spot to help promote your business. That's talk-commerce.com.